Most people think Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher. He wasn't. He was the most powerful man in the world, emperor of Rome, commander of the greatest army in human history. And yet, every single morning, he sat alone and wrote to himself. Not to be published, not to be read, not to impress anyone, just to remind himself how to live. That collection of private notes became meditations. And this book says something that most self-help content will never tell you. You don't need more motivation. You need a better relationship with reality. Because here's what Marcus Aurelius understood that most people today completely miss. Your life is not hard because the world is unfair. Your life is hard because you keep fighting things you cannot control. You keep expecting reality to bend to your preferences. You keep waiting for conditions to be perfect before you decide to show up fully. And Meditations, written over 2,000 years ago by a man who had every reason to be arrogant, every reason to be comfortable, every reason to look away. This book looks straight at that truth and refuses to flinch. So let's go through what it actually says, because this is not philosophy for classrooms. This is philosophy for 6 a.m. when everything feels heavy and you're not sure you have it in you today. The first thing Meditations makes clear is this. You have two lives, the life that happens to you and the life you create with how you respond to it. Most people live entirely in the first one. They are permanent victims of their circumstances. When things go well, they're happy. When things go badly, they fall apart. Their entire inner world is controlled by the outer world. Marcus Aurelius calls this slavery, not the kind with chains, the kind with reactions. He writes to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Read that again. Power over your mind, not over events, not over people, not over outcomes, just your mind, just your response, just the space between what happens and what you do next. And he says that space is everything, because here's what this book understands about human suffering that most people never figure out. It's rarely the actual event that destroys you. It's the story you tell yourself about the event. It's the meaning you attach. It's the catastrophizing, the replaying, the what-ifs and the why-me's. Marcus Aurelius lost children. He fought wars he didn't want. He dealt with betrayal from people he trusted. He governed an empire while his body was failing him. He had more reasons to collapse than almost any person who has ever lived. And yet Meditations contains almost no self-pity, almost no rage, almost no despair. Not because he didn't feel those things, but because he had trained himself deliberately, daily through writing, to return to one question. Is this within my control or outside it? If outside, release it. If inside, act on it. Everything else is noise. This is what the Stoics called the dichotomy of control. And it sounds simple until you try to actually live it. Because your brain is wired to care deeply about things outside your control. What people think of you, whether you get the outcome you want, whether life treats you fairly, whether the timing works out. And Marcus Aurelius says, gently but firmly, that caring about those things is the source of almost all your suffering, not the things themselves, your attachment to controlling them. Now here's where Meditations gets uncomfortable in the best possible way. Marcus Aurelius was not naturally calm. He was not born stoic. He writes in his journal about his anger, his impatience, his frustration with people who are foolish or dishonest or ungrateful. He writes about how hard it is to get out of bed some mornings, how tempting it is to stay under the covers and avoid the day. This is the most powerful man in the Roman world, writing about not wanting to get out of bed. And this is exactly why Meditations hits differently from every other philosophy book. Because he's not describing an ideal, he's describing a practice, a daily struggle, a commitment to choosing better, even when everything in him wants to choose worse. He writes, "At dawn when you rise unwillingly, let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being. Not rising to a perfect day, not rising because you feel motivated, rising to the work, because that is what you are here to do." And this book asks you, what is your work? Not your job, not your role, your actual work as a human being living this one life. Because Marcus Aurelius believed and wrote about this repeatedly, that most people sleepwalk through their entire existence. They react instead of respond. They drift instead of direct. They spend their energy on appearances instead of character, on what people think instead of what they actually are. And then one day they look up and the life is mostly gone. Meditations is a book written by a man who refused to let that happen to himself, who fought every single morning in private, with no audience, to stay awake to his own life. Now here's another truth from this book that cuts straight through the noise of modern life. Most of your anxiety is about the future. Most of your sadness is about the past. And right now, this exact moment, is the only place where your life is actually happening. Marcus Aurelius returns to this again and again. He writes about how the present moment is all we ever actually have. The past is gone. The future is not guaranteed. Right now is the only real thing. And yet you spend most of your mental energy everywhere except here. You're in a meeting, but your mind is on the conversation you had yesterday. You're with someone you love, but part of you is already worried about tomorrow. You're eating, but you're scrolling. You're resting, but you're guilty about resting. You are almost never fully here. And meditation says this is not just a productivity problem, it's a life problem. Because a life spent mostly in your head, mostly in the past or future, is a life you're not actually living. You're narrating it, watching it from a distance, never quite inside it. Marcus Aurelius practiced what he called returning to the present. Not as a meditation technique, as a discipline. Every time his mind drifted to worry or regret or resentment, he would notice it, name it, and return. Not perfectly, but repeatedly. That's the whole practice. Now here's something this book says about other people that is genuinely difficult to hear. Marcus Aurelius writes, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This is not pessimism. This is preparation. Because what he's saying is, don't be surprised by human nature. Don't let it throw you. Don't let someone else's behavior become the reason you abandon your own standards. He continues, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, meaning they are not your enemy. They are struggling humans just like you, and your job is not to fix them, punish them, or be destroyed by them. Your job is to respond with the character you've chosen to have, regardless of what they do. This is one of the hardest teachings in meditations, and one of the most freeing, because the moment you stop needing people to behave differently before you can feel okay, you become genuinely free. Not free from difficulty, free from being controlled by it. Now here's the teaching that ties all of this together, the one Marcus Aurelius comes back to more than any other. Memento Mori, remember that you will die, not as a dark or morbid thought, as a clarifying one. He writes, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Think about what that means. The thing most people are afraid of, death, is not the real danger. The real danger is reaching the end having never fully shown up. Having spent your years managing your image instead of building your character. Avoiding discomfort instead of doing the work. Waiting for the right moment instead of being present in the actual moment. Meditations asks you to hold your mortality not as a threat, but as a teacher. Because when you truly feel the shortness of this life, not intellectually, but in your chest, the noise falls away. The petty things stop mattering so much. The comparisons lose their grip. The fear of what people think gets smaller. And what's left? The work, the people you love, the present moment, the character you're building with every choice. That's it. That's the whole game. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, knew this. And he wrote it to himself every morning so he wouldn't forget. Now think about what you wrote to yourself this morning. What you reminded yourself of. What you returned to when things got hard. Meditations is not asking you to be a Roman emperor. It's not asking you to be perfect or unfeeling or immune to difficulty. It's asking you one thing. Will you take responsibility for your own mind? Not for what happens, not for what other people do, just for the space between the world and your response to it. Because that space, small as it seems, is where your entire life is built. And starting today, you can build it differently. Rise to the work. Return to the present. Release what is not yours to control. Repeat. That is the whole philosophy. 2,000 years old. Still the most advanced operating system for a human life ever written. Marcus Aurelius didn't write meditations for the world. He wrote it for himself. But somehow it became the most honest self-improvement book ever created. Because it wasn't written to impress. It was written to survive, to stay human under impossible pressure, to keep choosing better when everything made it easier to choose worse. And if a man carrying the weight of an empire could do that, writing alone at dawn, reminding himself of what matters, what is your excuse?